Hey, Clayton, what would Jesus say about artificial intelligence? AI is a powerful tool, but efforts to create self thinking machines can feel like you're playing God. So many movies warn of AI becoming dangerous if it gains sentience. What might God think about this? I love this question. I guess what happens when you start answering questions about dinosaurs and aliens and ghosts, the floodgates open up. And next month, I'm pretty sure I'll be answering a question about unicorns. But this is going to be a lot of fun, okay? Let's start with this question. Is AI a threat? Could it become dangerous? Okay. I am not an expert in these things, but I have actually paid close attention to this one. I've listened to some people who are pretty thoughtful, pretty reasonable, not the sort of people who get, hyped up about things unnecessarily. And they've got some serious concerns. They look at it and they say, man, there's more going on here. This is not, I don't know if you remember when the Segway came out, right? The little like scooter that people ride around. I remember in the months leading up to that, they're like, this will revolutionize everything. Transportation will never be the same. We'll never move through the world the same way ever again. And then it's like, this is just used by like, mall cops and, tours of, downtown Chicago or whatever. Like it didn't change anything. And sometimes there are technologies where we say, this is going to change everything. I've heard enough people who know what they're talking about say, when we're talking about AI, the hype isn't just hype. There's a lot going on here that's going to do a lot of things. It may not be all the things we imagine it will do, but it's going to transform a lot of things. This is both commentators I've heard, but also friends I know who work in that industry who say, no, really, this is something new, something different. And so could it become dangerous? That's the big question, right? And sure, I actually think it's possible. From a theological perspective, humans can make technology that can cause great harm. There's nothing that God is going to do that's going to prevent us from doing some serious damage. And I think about that with atomic power and atomic bombs. That is an unreal capacity that we have, right? I think about biological engineering. I think about even just extracting petroleum from the ground. That did a transformational work on the world, right? Like God allows human beings to have a big impact. So it could be we could create a technology that has incredible computational capacity and abilities that go beyond what us ordinary people can imagine a machine could do. And all of a sudden we've got something that is incredibly dangerous. But here's my concern. My concern is not that AI is going to become Terminator, okay? As much as I like those movies, I'm not sure that is the scenario that we should be worried about. I think there are much closer to reality scenarios with AI that we should already be wondering about, okay? I've got three things, okay, from my perspective. And again, I'm a pastor. I think about theology and the Bible. I'm not someone who thinks about technology, but I recognize these things as things that are going to shape people in really profound ways that I would say we ought to pay attention to this as followers of Jesus. The first is this: our eroding ability to discern truth from falsehood. So we already live in a world that is flooded with information, that distrusts expertise, that looks at the world askance and saying, what are you trying to, what spin are you putting on this? What way are you trying to pull the wool over my eyes? Who am I going to believe? Who am I going to trust? We already live in that kind of world thanks to the internet and media and so on. But when you suddenly have a world that is flooded with images and video and messages that can be generated by a machine, and it can be very, very convincing, it is going to make it harder and harder for us to discern what is real and false, what is fake, what is true. This is something that concerns me. We are people of truth, and we ought to be concerned about that. And anything that gets in the way, anything that leads to greater deception for people, is a concern for people of the truth. Second concern: I'm concerned about the way AI will short circuit our maturing and discipleship. I want you to think about this, right? Like the thing that makes us grow is when we are challenged, when we are stretched, okay? But AI tempts us to skip some of the hard work for certain things, especially when it comes to thinking through things, right? You think about, if I can just formulate an answer, if I can just get something explained to me, I don't have to do the wrestling. It's uncomfortable. And if I have systems that can help me skip that in some way, that's going to not just make it so that we don't learn. It's going to atrophy us as people. I think about this in particular as people who value the Bible. Okay, our whole thing here for Bible Savvy is biblical literacy. We're not just teaching people about the Bible. We're teaching people how to read. We're teaching people how to read an ancient text. The whole idea of the church is we gather around texts that have been passed on and read and studied and debated and discussed by people for thousands of years, and we are continuing the tradition. And if this is what makes our community tick, if we actually make it so there are people who are less able to read and discern and understand the written word, if we make it so that people are not good at thinking through long, complex problems because there have been systems that have made it simpler and easier to sort through, we might not be better people for that. We may be losing something that's really, really important. Just as an aside, there is a book by a guy named Andy Crouch called The Life We're Looking For. It is really profound. It is a slow, thoughtful read, but it's really, really good when it comes to saying what we should think about when it comes to technology is what is going to actually form us as human beings, not just what's going to get the job done, right? We want things that make things easy and quick and accessible, but what we actually need to become the sort of people we were meant to be is things that challenge our whole person, our body, our soul, our mind, our hearts, everything. Things that cause us to be drawn into relationship, to exist in relationships of love that are hard and challenging, to do difficult things. That's what we need to become the kind of people that are reflecting God's glory, but also simply just satisfied with life. We need to be stretched and challenged. I'm also concerned in terms of discipleship with the way AI will make addictive behaviors even more addictive, okay? Algorithms that keep your attention. Right? If they know exactly what to put in front of your face to make it so that you'll click again and again and again, that's going to be hard for us to be formed as people. We're going to get more and more addicted. If pornography becomes more personalized and can be generated on demand, that's going to be more addictive. When our loneliness can be filled by interactions with a machine that make the interactions easy rather than the difficult work of relating to a real life human being, that's going to suck us in, right? Those things are not going to form us well. It's going to undermine our discipleship. So that's my second concern. The third concern is the way we will use AI to dehumanize other people. My concern is not actually about AI becoming more human. It's AI being used to treat other people as less human. The threat with technology when it comes to us playing God is not that we're going to play God in the sense of creating new life. It's the fact that we're going to try to play God in being the ruler and the controller and the dominator of other people, right? The threat is that we will try to play God in the sense that we will try to be the one who is sovereign and in control. We will use technology to dominate, to oppress, to extract things from people, to make demands of people, to manipulate people. We will take power we were never meant to have. So my concern is not that AI will gain sentience and start to dominate humanity. My concern is about people who already have sentience who will use AI to dominate other parts of humanity. The thing about technology is it turns up the volume on our sin. Technology does not create evil, but it amplifies it. It turns up the volume on our problems. This is part of what the story of the Tower of Babel is all about. The Tower of Babel is a weird story in lots of ways, but at the heart of it is this: a group of people who have all of the sin and corruption and violence that is demonstrated by individuals in the story up to that point. They start to gather together and they say, we've got a technology. The technology was a new form of brick. And they say, we can make a city for ourselves that makes us strong and powerful. And we're going to create something that shows off to the world that we're important and on top of things. And what God does is disperse that so that they can't use that power to start dominating people around them. And so the concern is that human beings will use the technology to dehumanize other people. And so that's the main thing I'm concerned about. All right, but what about the question of the good use of AI? What should we actually be doing with it? What should the limits be? Those are questions I don't have easy answers to. I'm still learning about this. I'm not an expert in this sort of thing, but I'm really curious to see where this goes. There are two people that I would recommend learning from about this. I've already mentioned one. It's a guy named Andy Crouch. He is a brilliant thinker when it comes to technology and how it relates to discipleship and theology. The second is a friend of Christ Community Church, Rosalind Picard. She is someone who works in technology of AI, in particular, AI to help humanize people and to empower people. She's really thoughtful about this. So if you go find some of their YouTube videos, some of their books, some of their writing about this, it's really, really helpful.
Thanks for listening. If you've got your own questions, email questions@BibleSavvy.com. Like and subscribe to catch our regular episodes every Monday on the Bible Savvy Podcast.